Welcome back, and we apologize for the slight glitch in the stream there. We are back to close out the super high roller final table here at APT Taipei. Things are tense. We're coming back right into the middle of the action, in the middle of a hand here, in fact. But just to quickly recap, 4 players remaining, all guaranteed 106,000. This is the super high roller $10,000 buy-in, $287,000 up top to the winner. We are down to 4 players with Isaac Haxton, the legend, the man, the myth, Ike himself, having the monster chip lead on the table. Tony is in the middle of a decision here. Tony Lin, that is, representing the US, an extremely accomplished player with 9.4 million in total lifetime earnings. Was the shortest stack on the table not too long ago. Now middle stack, contemplating a hero call. If I don't know, just call, and he's right. Tony, by far the most talkative and entertaining person on this final table, giving Ike a slap on the wrist for bluffing too much. And there we go, Tony now in a comfortable second position. The 2 other players, just in case you're joining us after the glitch, Edward Yam from Hong Kong, one of the 2 Hong Kong players, has put in a fantastic performance, has achieved all kinds of laurels in the game, including a Guinness Book of World Record for the most in-the-money finishes in a year. Plays very, very high-stakes cash games also, I believe. $750,000 in his total lifetime earnings, so a first-place finish here will take him over the $1 million mark. What a great milestone that would be. Last but not the least, Anson Yang, the Hong Kong superstar. 3.6 million in lifetime earnings. An absolute crusher. Has been an MTT pro for the past 5 years. My co-host, Mr. Stephen Lai, well familiar with Anson from the Hong Kong circuit. One of the best, most skilled and kindest people on the circuit, apparently. Currently looking to spin it up. Wow, Edward folds King 9 in the big blind. Ordinarily an easy hand to defend, but the ICM pressure of the short stack of Anson getting in the way, I assume. There we see the stacks. Anson is down to just 10 big blinds. The next pay jump is $23,000, going from 106 guaranteed right now to all 4 to 129,000. The $23,000 pay jump is followed by a $66,000 pay jump from second to third, or third to second rather. And then of course the almost $90,000 heads up battle will commence. Isaac Haxton, aka Ike, ace 5 suited, a monster on the button with his chip stack.
So much. Title.
To those of you joining the new stream, welcome back. We once again apologize for the slight glitch. Things are always a bit difficult when we are finding our footing with the new traction that we have across all these streams, new events, 11 days of streaming. Rahul in chat asking, is the tourney on break now? Nope. We are going strong, four-handed. There you can see the other final table lists. Mike Takayama going out in 5th place. Good for 85,000 USD. Punat Punstri, the Thailand superstar. 6th for 67K. This is interesting. Queen 3 off for Edward Yam. We get to see his mentality. With Ike not in the hand, he can consider raising the big blind rather, of the shortest stack. Instead decides to let it go. Tony has a decision, mind you. Jack 5 suited, not the prettiest holding, but theoretically a shove with the big blind ante in play. Considering his opponent has only 10 big blinds and 2 of them have been posted. Does Tony take the theoretical spot? Yes, he does. Puts out the no gamble, no future patch. Announces all in. That's the kind of gumption it takes. And when Anson wakes up with the 8-4 off, it's going to pay off. Well done by Tony. Now that he has the second largest stack, he is wielding it. Eight 5 suited now for Tony. This time Ike is on the big blind. Would not blame Tony for folding this. I think he's Hollywooding a bit. Wouldn't be new for Tony. Jack 9 off, 8 bigs. Once again, a theoretical shove. And I think Anson knows it. Wants to pick up 2.5 bigs in the middle. Just has to hope Ike doesn't wake up with a real holding. Goes with it. 10 deuce. Not precisely a real holding. On to the next one. Anson back to 10 bigs.
Ooh, did I miss something?
Nothing too exciting, but Tony Lin seems to have found his footing.
How come Anson's at 10 big blinds?
Such is the way of poker, my friend.
Tony Lin.
Mr. Miami Vice, Mr. Mamma Mia. Has has been certainly a force in the table when it comes to the table chatter, which we always appreciate, but has shown himself to be a force in the poker as well. And no surprise, I mean, look at his performance in the Superstar event as well. Looking at a double header here. Suited ace goes all in, and Isaac has woken up with the ace-10 off. Easy call. We could just be down to 3 here, Steven. Anson will need the help of the poker gods if Ike clicks the call button here, which he is very, very likely to do. Probably eyeing Edward's stack right now to decide whether to flat call, isolate, jam.
I think it's over.
Curious what you think the right approach here, by the way, is. Just in case Edward wakes up with a hand better than ace-10. I suppose isolating would actually get those kind of hands to fold as well, considering the ICM at play. Is Isaac more likely to raise or flat?
Race. Sorry, very cold.
No, that's why I asked.
Yeah. Exactly because of ICM.
Yeah, you can get ace-queen to fold even. And certainly hands that would be flipping.
Like, it might come across like ICM suicide, but it isn't because he's so deep. He's at 61 big blinds. So even if Edward Yam woke up with a strong hand, Isaac Huxton is not going to get crippled. So a jam is, you know, you needed to remove those pairs.
There we have it. Aaron needs some help. Anson, sorry. It's getting that part of the evening. Anson is looking for some help from the poker gods, as I said earlier. Needs a 3 or some hearts.
Operator, hide the whiskey bottles from Vidu, please.
Well, the 4 of hearts suddenly got the blood pumping, but fortunately not much else connected. Backdoor draw is possible.
There you go.
The best card in the deck.
Never easy.
The out counter has run out of space up top. Oh, not to be.
Not to be.
Everything whiffs, and we do lose him in 4th place, rather. $106,000 to the man from Hong Kong. GG, sir. Very well played.
I warned you, 5 of hearts was too much.
Too many outs. Too many outs syndrome.
Guess what he said to me when we were having a short break when I saw Anson? Guess what he asked me?
What did he ask you?
Did Tony Lin bluff me? That hand with when he had a king high, the runner was 8-8 jack,
Tony had queen 10.
6 and a 4. That's the first thing he asked me.
Typical poker player.
Okay. Flush, straight, flush, and over under straight. So 6 and plus 9 is 15. 15 is being and 3 he also win. Oh, 3 now. 15 only win. I thought 3.
Hey, Tony, maybe when Ike says 15 outs, you just believe him. Just look at his face.
Sorry, how much do you have now, Tony? Like 10, right?
Hold on, let me think.
So we're down to 3 at this super high roller final table. It's all to play for. 129,000 guaranteed. Nice little 13x return on the buy-in.
I think 8.5.
But a huge $66,000 pay jump to fight for at the moment. Followed by the $90,000 heads-up battle.
Am I mistaken to say their starting stacks were 250 each?
That is correct.
Here it is.
That's the level. 125,000, 250,000 are the blinds. That means one soul represented by one blind. One entry.
That also means there are 134 big blinds in play.
Precisely. And Isaac has more than 50%. Wow. Edward is just taking these spots without fear.
6-1-2.
Oh my god.
And Tony has woken up with pocket eights. And if he's paid attention to Edward's play, or indeed went and watched the stream during the break, he knows Edward is capable of doing this with a hand much worse than pocket eights. Can he find the call here? Does he want to get out of the way just in case Isaac has a hand? Isaac is going to be super wide on the button to the point that Tony can almost ignore what Ike has. Three-handed pocket eights is an absolute monster.
So I'm trying to work it out in my head, the ICM situation here.
60 minutes to 70.
Like
Would
I
it,
said,
would it be an ICM suicide? I don't know actually.
well, Ike's range is so wide that it's almost like the first step to figuring out the ICM is to just ignore Ike raising it all. Their stacks are very close to each other.
Isn't I kind of see the other way. Okay, let's pretend that Isaac Haxton has a 5% chance of having a better hand. What are you risking here?
$66,000 pay jump.
Chance to heads up?
Chance to heads up. But pocket eights is just so strong. A lot of Edwards range that dominate pocket eights wouldn't jam as well. The aces, kings and queens perhaps could consider the 3-bet route, considering this is about a 28 big blind jam, I believe. Eliminating those also helps you lean towards a call.
I'm trying to build a case for a call, but I am also... Whew.
Well, we don't get into this too often, Stephen, but, you know, combinatorics, there's way more combos, 16 of overcards such as ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack, versus pairs that have 6 combos each. Certainly ways towards a call. Of course, we can see the cards makes it much easier to make the claim. Edward, no doubt, would be doing this with something like pocket 9s, pocket 10s, somewhat vulnerable pairs. Of course, he would also be balancing, considering he's effectively bluff jamming a little bit with a suited ace. But that's what you get pot odds for.
Noting the fact that, like as you said, Haxton would have been opening super wide, so ace-7 most of the time would be a better hand.
Ace-7 three-handed is a monster anyway, and Tony finds the call. Isaac will get out of the way,
There
and
you
Tony
go.
is a favorite to have a monster stack heading to heads up, almost evening Ike's. 14 million in the pot.
Wow. And just like that, we could be heading towards heads up.
Not only heads up, but an even stacked heads up. If Tony can hold this, he would have gone from a distant 4th place to heads up with Isaac Haxton for the super high roller title. Jack, 7, 5, a 7 on the flop to keep things a bit more interesting. 5 outs now, one of them folded by Ike. 4 cards to the rescue. The 9 does not change much. A 7 or an ace, or we lose Edward Yam. And that's it. The deuce of spades seals the deal. Handshakes all around. The 2 Hong Kong players eliminated back to back, and we are now heads up in this super high roller. Surprise, surprise, Mr. Isaac Haxton is one of the players heads up, but Tony Lin, what a performance. What a run he is having. The most entertaining player at the table, arguably, with all his talk, but when it comes to the poker, he knows exactly what he's doing. And there is the trophy being lifted to be put in the middle of the table. We are going to be setting up for heads up. Trust me, you do not want to go anywhere. Look at that, neck and neck. Steven, this is anybody's game. I would be very surprised if anybody leaves us as we head towards a short break. And we will come back to close out the super high roller here at the APT Taipei 2024. Do not go anywhere.
color up,
Okay.
tell me, and then we'll make everything.
Seat will be 3 and 7.
3 and 7.
3 and 7.
Seat will be 3 and 7.
Wow. Okay.
Then we do chip count.
We do chip raise for 5,000, and then we do chip count. Okay. Now let me bring out the rack. Give him a 15-minute break. We still have to do the chip raise. So. We got 2. I'll do it. Wait for 1 second. This is 6. 6.
Welcome to Asia's largest online poker room. Our next generation poker software is now initiating. Elevate your online experience with a wide variety of poker variations to choose from. Get fully immersed with fun and social features. Level up your game with PokerCraft and Smart HUD. Unlock a wealth of rewards including cashback, bonuses, and jackpots. Join world-class poker tournaments featuring some of the world's most renowned brands and the largest guaranteed prize pools in the world. Experience the best in customer service and hassle-free transactions for a seamless online gaming experience. With online poker available on all your devices, you'll be able to play your favorite games anytime, anywhere. Sign up now and elevate your online poker experience today.
1 million. I said 1 million.
1 million. Raise 1 million. 784.
Are we allowed to look at our phones over here or only on break? I can look at my phone now? Or no? Yeah. Thank you.
Raise to 2 million.
All in. Listen. 18.
Okay. 1 fold. 6 solemn.
Kyle.
And
Thank you.
抽個靚位，抽個靚位，
抽個靚位，真係靚。哇！個卜佢打到4個歐元。
Money jump, big money. Money jump.
I'll be careful.
Huh?
I will be careful.
Very be careful, okay? Bigger money jump.
Oh yeah.
200k money jump, I think.
380.
380.
Okay.
380.
380.
이제 원? 와, 레이디 가가. 레이디 가가. 레이디 가가.
Oh, natural not too bad.
斟個兩啖，咁啊
Maybe
斟咗兩啖。
Japan.
係啊，咁樣我本身多過佢嘅，我陰一，
Japan queen.
因為我一定係俾佢出手先做。你睇住呢個，
太短啦，佢都冇見都冇。
10, no hat, full side, 10 space. Ah, yeah.
，OK，係我做嘢嘅時候啦。100。
APT, if he backs out, right? That will, if he backs out and 8, that be real APT or Asian. I think yeah, you know. If you back out, it's real APT, you know.
It's true, yeah. I guess
So you know how to do, right?
I'm ruining things. I feel unwelcome.
3 is probably easier.
Yeah. 3 a.m.
PM, you need to go earlier, like before the 7.
Yeah, I should probably even 7. I was planning to walk to the airport.
Good luck, 人老板。
轮老板，我操！
哎呀，人，哎呀。Oh, it's cool. It's king.
我有個煙，
I have 30%.
我煙生。
30%. I don't want 8.
I was
I
bubble.
want 2, 3, 5.
I was bubble the king last night, so to be happy.
Good luck. Good luck to me or good luck to you.
Good luck.
Maybe chop. Maybe chop.
So, what be chopped?
Probably a straight on the board. My chance.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Or all diamonds.
Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8.
You need a 6.
Yeah.
Three.
3
Three is more.
is good.
3 is more.
3. Okay.
Anything pointy?
Slow and steady. For the river.
You need 2 sides.
Upstream.
Oh.
GG guys. Good luck. GG.
长期加油，长期加油。
Hey, hello.
Good night. Gamble too much.
Lucky hand 都要中。
But a lucky dealer. Also lucky thing, number 1.
Yeah, no, one only. Number 4 raised 1,200,000. And then 5 gold. And then
Around 9.
Thank you very much.
9.3.
Not 12.
There. I'm good feeling about this.
You're good feeling? I got
Anson
great.
有幾多嘢
Great.
Not too bad.
Good.
小姐姐好。这不是香港。刚刚那个香港。
刚才台湾。
好像这个 FD 都是台湾。
啊。
然后在那边的海陆都是台湾。
对，那边很多香港。
这个小姐姐忘了。
Welcome back to APT Taipei 2024. We are streaming the APT Super High Roller event. We are now heads up the two players, that is Isaac Haxton and Tony Lin, are getting ready, having their photos taken for prosperity. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you about our upcoming streaming events. Tomorrow we're going to kick off at 3 p.m. Excellent. The Natural 8 India event will kick off at 3 p.m. and soon after that it will be the Natural 8 Influencers Invitational, in which you will see KOLs from around Asia battling out at the TV table. On the 5th, which is the Tuesday, we have 3 Natural 8 related events: Natural 8 Taiwan, Natural 8 Hong Kong, and the APT Thailand exclusive. Plenty of interesting, maybe less high stake poker action coming up, but at this time we are streaming the Super High Roller event. We're down to 2. The final table saw a few eliminations. The 3rd place finish was Edward Yam, and then 4th was Anson Sang. Mike Takayama was nursing a short stack and left the field 5th. There were very quick eliminations at the beginning of the final table. Punat, Lun, and Sung Ju were very quickly removed from the table, and then Robovic also came 9th. Back to the schedule. On the 6th, on Wednesday, we're going to start streaming the main event, day 2. That might actually start a little bit later than 11:45. The schedule hasn't been completely confirmed yet, so stay tuned. We will publish the exact confirmed time across all our socials. apt.poker also is a good place to find out more information. The 7th, which is day 3 of the main event, when every player is in the money, 11:45 start, and then day 4 and day 5 will be brought to you live. Sunday we have the High Roller event, so stay tuned. There's plenty more poker action. Back talking about this Super High Roller event, 137 entries. We're now down to 2, with the winner going to take home 287,000 American dollars. That's a lot of money, isn't it, Vidu?
Not a bad payday considering the $10,000 buy-in, 137 entries, creating another record-breaking $1.2 million prize pool. The APT High Roller is going from strength to strength, Stephen, but perhaps most emblematic about the caliber of players, Mr. Isaac Haxton now going heads up, one of the greats of the game, against Tony Lin, clearly a legend in his own right and a legend in the making if he can close this one out. Coming back up from the bottom of the leaderboard with 4 players left to heads up with an even stack with Ike. Talked about the payouts. You mentioned all the names there, Stephen, already, but let's just talk about how much they got. Edward Yam walking away $129,000 richer. You mentioned Anson Sang right below that. 6-figure score for him as well. And of course Mike Takayama not too far behind, 85,000. Just another day at the office for some of them, but that top score of 288,000 is just too beautiful. 28 times return on your money. All to play for, and look at that trophy to play for as well. The glorious pewter APT line.
Look at these photo opportunities. Ike Haxton having a bit of fun.
I'm a gambler.
And we haven't talked about this yet, Stephen, but Ike now with his signature face mask, he gets a lot of flack for it sometimes in the Western world, but it's just the look he's chosen, the safety he's comfortable with. Tony, not one to hide his face and his beautiful smile, certainly complements his fashion sense today. Not to mention his poker caliber. Seems to know no bounds. Seems very, very comfortable with the situation he's found himself in. I will address some of the things asked in chat while we were away on the break. Excuse me. What's the buy-in? $10,000, Andres. Ike is a beast. We certainly agree. Just wondering if you will stream the influencer game, please. Indeed, we will.
Tomorrow evening.
Look out for the natural 8 streams and go check the schedule whenever in doubt. Deals are allowed? Question mark. Indeed, the APT is more than happy to facilitate any deals between the players. I have a feeling these two players did not discuss any deals. Ike is way too much of a beast, perhaps. J Proper says the same kings that got him eliminated the other day. That's from a previous hand. And Andres asking once again if there were any deals. We would be happy to let you know if there were any deals, and we can report that there were none. So, this is let me do the quick math, $93,000 heads-up battle.
Correct? You have
I don't know.
just under 16.
Can we get 1 second?
I checked mine are good, but
Okay. 1, 2. Can we stand 1 minute? Double check.
Yes, Tony, take your time.
40.
We are 2 minutes away from kicking off the action. Heads up here at the Super High Roller.
Speaking of the Influencer Challenge, tomorrow we will be hosting Wilfred Lau, a pop singer from Hong Kong. Jason, a Hong Kong YouTuber. You know, he's actually been playing for a long time. I remember him playing a smaller game many years ago. F Fame is an esports streamer playing PUBG competitively. Is there such possibility? Greg, it's not that Greg, it's not our Greg.
Not our Greg.
It's a Thai-Belgian model and actor, participated in season 3 of The Face Men Thailand. There you go, so handsome man. And then you have Had from Faram 3, another Thai streamer. Finally, to complete the lineup is Hong Kong's Color MC.
It's fine, right?
Color MC coming off a sick run from APT Incheon, I believe.
Yes, he chopped for second. Well done him.
So he might have the most impressive bona fides on that table. You did mention Jason. Used to be a player as well.
In fact, Jason streams a lot of GG online on his YouTube channel. And he's been getting pretty good scores. Pretty good.
So a healthy mix, but let's not forget the event that started our streaming schedule this time, the All-Star Showdown.
12 minutes.
I mean, full of sickos. Espen Yorstad, Danny Tang, Punat Punsri, Mr. Elki, and who ships it all? Lung Lung, the stand-up comedian from Taiwan, 1 year into her poker career. Always good to see a mix of seasoned and newer players to the game.
And with that lineup, there's no reason why you shouldn't be subscribing to the Asian Poker Tour YouTube channel.
That's a great point, Steven. I mean, if that lineup doesn't make you subscribe, we are at 9.3k subscribers, and we would really, really appreciate if you would get us to 10,000 by the end of the festival. Putting on a record-breaking festival here, putting on 3 extra days of streaming this time. All for you guys, really, all so that we can share in the joy that it brings us to host these events. So if you could help us out, hit subscribe, help us get to that 10,000 mark by the end of the series, we would be eternally grateful. And of course, would love to have you along for this wonderful journey as we grow the game of poker in Asia.
And I'm not 100% happy with the viewership right now. So please, tell your friends, tell your family, log on, come and watch, give me a like, give us a like, and enjoy this heads-up battle between Tony Lin and Isaac Haxton.
Big blind 1000. With the big blind and see off 1000.
I'm sorry, next station, I don't read Thai, so just do let me know what you want to tell me. 619 Poker King is saying hi from California, which should be 3 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. What are you doing at 3 a.m. watching this? Andreas V, come to the Philippines next. Well, funny you asked that, because the next APT stop will be Jeju Island. The series will start on the 26th of April. Go to apt.poker for more information. So play has resumed. Ace 8 off from Tony Lin, a standard open from the button.
Now, Steven, I am a little bit excited because we are in my wheelhouse. A rare deep stacked heads up battle with the big blind ante. This can separate the best from the rest, and Isaac starts out strong. So much of heads up is about momentum, the meta game as you call it, which is to say what all is happening outside the hand. Setting a tone can be so important. Isaac decides to do it, starting with a 3-bet with Jack 8 off. And Tony has a very strong holding heads up, Ace 8. Believe it or not, it would be way too nitty to fold this. Starts with a call. This is ballooning up already. Maybe it's not going to stay as deep stacked as I thought. 4.6 million in the middle. 3 SPR effective. Ace, Queen, 6. Tony flops best in position. Dream scenario for him. Ike is very likely to continuation bet. The story he's trying to tell includes all kinds of aces. Checking on this flop is a bit tantamount to giving up, but does Isaac want to not let his pre-flop aggression get the best of him? Seems like that's the case. Looks away from the table as well. Don't want to read into it too much. Physical tells with Ike are unlikely to be too meaningful, but suddenly seemed pretty disinterested in the hand.
Good point, actually.
A small bet from Tony, claiming to have the ace.
Perfection of bluff.
Me or you?
You. I got nuts.
You got nuts. I got nuts.
Good point, Andreas. Posting on Twitter to tell the world that Isaac Haxton is once again final tabling in high roller event. That will bring in some viewers. Tony Lin off to a good start. Surviving a 3-bet pot. Flopping top pair. Pocket fives.
$650. Yeah.
$650 open.
Total win.
Slightly bigger than a min race.
Okay.
So Andreas obviously is very familiar with these two players. The catchphrase, Mr. No Gamble, No Future, Tony Lin.
So I was big blind, right?
Yeah, you're button. No.
No. Okay. Oh.
Very confusing.
I got trouble.
I must say I've got to know Tony Lin a lot better in the past 2 days.
So has the stream, apparently. Certainly going to have some new fans, both for his personality and his poker. He's made it look easy, frankly speaking. Battling with the best. Five, 4-4 is the board. Tony still best. Standard open pre-flop, standard defense. Time for a standard c-bet, I wonder? Checks behind. Adds a flush draw to the equity he had in the hand already. Isaac, though. 2 overs, a gut shot. Not much else to write home about. But the weakness shown by Tony on the flop should be enough for Isaac to come out firing. The board certainly favors
900.
the big blind calling range. Isaac also has the perfect holding to set up a double barrel. Perfect card removal for all the high cards, all the potential one club hand.
I think you don't want the traffic too heavy.
Too heavy. I just want to get second looking cool.
It's a dead even heat, by the way, Steven. Look at that.
I'm waiting for a cooler hand.
How would you like to be heads up, even stacks
Just give me
against Isaac Haxton
Or against Tony Lin.
or against Tony Lin for $90,000? And that beautiful APT trophy. Shout out to our production crew for getting that beautiful out of focus trophy, in focus Ike shot.
The bouquet, as they say.
The bokeh. I guess bokeh technically would go at the back, but yeah.
Any blur area is a bouquet.
Oh, is it?
Out of focus area is a bouquet, yeah.
how much?
It's Japanese, apparently.
All the fun words are, aren't they?
Ooh.
Ikigai, for instance.
Kamehameha.
Kamehameha is Japanese. Nice pull.
Six, 5, 3 flop. Not connected at all.
1.15.
1.15, that's just over 4 big blinds. Tony Lin with the gut shot of 7. And 2 overcards. It's hard to make a pair, right?
Yeah, he has to continue here. Heads up, that's a lot of equity, but he's cutting out raising chips. Here we go. In comes the check raise. Once again, the low board favoring the big blind calling range. Heads up ranges are so wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But having that out of making the nuts with the 7, the board being rainbow, he's feeling comfortable bumping the action up. Decently sized raise, 1.2 goes to 3.3. Isaac knows he doesn't have much of a holding, but once again, I'll use the word game flow. Does he want to get pushed around by Tony? He does not. Makes the call. As we can see, often, he will actually be ahead with his king high.
He's ahead.
But it's going to be tough to continue unless he hits. Of course, a diamond would help the cause. 6 is a bad card for Ike, to state the obvious. It does connect with a lot of the range that Tony was representing. A double barrel here from Tony should get the job done.
3 million.
He goes big enough to get leverage on this bet, setting up what would be a river shove were he to have a value hand. Once again, these guys are dead even in stacks at the start of this hand. That is no longer going to be the case. This is way too difficult for Ike to sniff out. Tony would play a 6 like this. Ike lets it go, and we have a new chip leader, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Lin. $84 bigs now for Tony, 52 for Ike.
That is a good question. I think 13 before I ante. I was up just under 13 after I ante.
13 is done, right?
Some discussion in chat about Ike's masks. Honestly, it's old news at this point, but considering this is his first appearance at the APT, completely understand some of our viewers. I'll leave it to the chat to discuss amongst themselves. Certainly post-COVID, I go with the idea that it's the player's choice. And yes, coincidentally, a poker player can benefit from covering a chunk of his face, but chunk of his face rather, but you know, scarves are allowed, shades are allowed. Christoph Vogelsang is allowed with his giant turtleneck scarf combos, collars. I think masks are pretty reasonable in the post-COVID era. That's a great question. Did anyone vote for Tony Lin in the Guess the Winner contest? I guess we'll find out. Mod in chat will let us know.
Tony hits a 6 top pair. Hard to flop a pair. Even harder for it to be top pair.
And a great kicker as well, not to mention Ike has enough equity to need to continue here. 2 overs and a gut shot to the higher straight. Ace-I could be good frequently. Tony would be playing a hand like King 5 like this, for instance, as well. And Ike seems to be bleeding chips. Does need help from those outs on the top of the screen. That's not one of them, but 4 to a straight now on the board.
Changes the texture ever so slightly. There's actually a nut on the board now. It's a check. I think Tony might fire again. Nope, he checks again. The river comes to 3, pairs it up. Tony gets the check mark with 6s and 3s. King kicker. Practically the nut on this board, really, apart from a 5, I suppose. Isaac Haxton checks.
Gives up. Or maybe he's checking with
Waiting
the
for
intention.
check racing, yes.
Wow. Tony polarizes with top pair for value on a 4 to a straight board that just tripped up. It's as though he knows exactly where he's at. It's as though he can see Ike's cards. One way to get an ace-high hero call is to polarize your hand, especially after he checked the turn the way he did. Relatively casually again, not reading into the physical tells too much, but certainly what he's representing now is a 5 or a
That's
trap.
a call. Wow. Look at that. We have a new chip leader for sure now.
Just coming back to it, Stephen, I firmly believe the way Tony checked the turn had a lot to do with it. It just did not signify a 5, both in terms of the action and the physical nature of his checking. Ike simply not a believer Tony was representing the narrowest of ranges. What a great bet. Tony in prime position. An overwhelming chip lead now, heads up.
Together, 7.
One hand on that trophy. Over
I'm
100 big
confirming
blinds, heads up.
7, 5, no more.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ike
6,
on the back foot for the first
8,
time at this final table. Coming in, an overwhelming chip
have,
leader. Never really lost that chip lead.
8.75.
Yeah.
We welcome the 192 viewers from around the world. Seems like there's someone watching this from Thailand, one from Vietnam, someone from California. I welcome you all. Look at that. $27 big blinds. That's how many chips Isaac Haxton has. 7-4 off. Go on then, tell the viewers what are the folding combos for you from the button. Heads up. This close.
I think limping has become part of every advanced poker player's repertoire now from the button. But if you were using simply a raise or fold, I think going 85 to 90% open from the button qualifies. So you can look at the charts, what are the bottom 10% of the hands, and then choose the ones you find prettiest or least prettiest. My recommendation, just don't get carried away if they're suited. I know it's tempting to play 8-3 suited.
Are we witnessing a heater here? Tony's hit top pair.
We certainly are. Isaac could be about to get steamrolled here. Tony checks with the intention of calling. Raising would be pretty cool as well. Top pair. Monster heads up, and Isaac is very unlikely to have a deuce. It is limp, but a deuce is about the worst as
Two
gets.
pair
So
now.
yeah, 2 pair beating all other tens. Isaac has absolute air. Checking is tantamount to giving up the pot. Betting after Tony has called 10 deuce deuce. Is trying to get 2 overs perhaps to fold. Anything else would not fold. Queen on the river doesn't change much. Tony could bet this for value fairly comfortably. Well, we saw him go big, and it worked out. Goes big again. This time Mike doesn't have anything to call. Tony crushing Isaac, says someone in chat. Never count out Ike. But yeah, he is on the back foot. 26 bigs to 87, 3.5 to 1 chip lead.
So this is from Lau Ka-Fai again, who claimed to have been working with Haxton and having 95% of his action. You must be quite sad now, Lau Ka-Fai. Well, actually happy, right? Surely. Coming second, is there still a large chunk of them of the money?
King on the button. Easy open. Well, there we go. Now we know Ike's folding range includes 9-5 off. Absolutely fair. Just a reminder to our viewers, we do continue with the big blind ante, even in the heads-up portion, so there's a lot more to fight for. 2.5 big blinds in the middle. In heads-up, of course. The dealer is the small blind.
Answering 619 Poker King's question. The winner will take 287,000 US dollars home. 287,000.
There we go. Ike finally has a hand. An ace on the button. Balances. Limps again. Last time round, limped 7-4 off. This time, limps A7 off. 5-4 of diamonds for Tony. Does he want to press the action a little bit? Should be happy to check and see a flop here. Seems to be eyeing the blinds.
1 million.
Yeah, he's in the zone. And I might just limp jam this. Believe it or not, A7.
Is that correct? Or is that something you would do? See, I'm learning it here.
I can't speak too confidently about whether it'd be correct at this stack depth precisely, but it's certainly close. And given the game flow, Tony, of course, has just been pummeling Ike. A7 is mighty strong. But Ike goes for the low variance route.
Still got 7 million behind, right? Is that
No, 7.8 to start.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, 6.8 behind.
Okay.
Jack, 10, 10. Ike does not connect. Can Tony muscle his way into winning this one as well? Just thinking about it, by the way, Stephen, I think A7 will be an easy theoretical jam, actually. Simply because once you limp, you widen your own range. You therefore widen your opponent's raising ranges. And A7 is a jam at 20 bigs, even without a big blind ante. So, thinking about it, surely at the 24, 25 big level, a limb jam, as we see, would have worked out. Right now, Ike's not ready to give up. He's seen it all, done it all. He knows he's likely still ahead somehow.
Oh, on the paddle board? Yeah, I think so.
A dangerous card on the turn, one that Tony can certainly use to craft some sort of narrative. Look at the SPR, 3.8 in the middle, 5.6 in Ike's stack. And Tony gives up.
Or
I have a feeling
getting
a bet.
ready to check raise.
Or getting ready to check raise, although certainly doesn't seem like Tony's style from what we've seen. He's been aggressive, but not maniacal, as certain players were on certain other final tables we've been commentating on.
But the one thing I've noticed about Tony is that he's got many, many gears. He shifts around. He changes his game style. Oh, that's a straight.
Unfortunately for Tony, no gear can get Ike off Broadway now. I just felt a little bad on the turn because you know that a bet from Tony would have likely gotten the job done. Ike simply would not have been able to stand the pressure of a double barrel there. Now he's hoping Tony had something. A big bluff that's going to certainly get called. That's how they do it, the superstars, Steven.
Oh, hitting?
Hitting. Ike is going to be back in this game. He might jam as well for value, although that's irrelevant. Would surprise me, though. Certainly likely to only get called by better. Let's not forget the dynamic, though. Tony made a polarized 3 million bet with top pair on a 4 to a straight board. And Ike paid it off with just ace high.
Good call. Natural 9. Queen. You got ace. Ace. Nice hand.
Thank you.
That was the most awkward banter ever. Nice hand. Thank you.
Well, Tony's gracious in defeat. Still has a 2-1 chip lead. It's got to feel good. Took a stab. Fair play. Just missed it by 1 street.
I missed the old days when Isaac Haxton had big, crazy hair.
The long hair, the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure viral clip of his hair blowing in the wind, moonlight on the table.
How do you get ace?
Classic TV poker setup. And him making,
How?
was it a 3 deuce?
Very dangerous.
Big bluff. Just to reiterate, this is Isaac's first ever appearance at the Asian Poker Tour Festival. Decided to come to Taipei, play the super Star Challenge, the 25k buy-in, and the Super High Roller. Needless to say, if he had been eliminated from this, would have played the Baby Superstar, which last we checked, Steven, we had 39 entries? 41 maybe? Yeah, 41 entries. 11 players remaining there, by the way. We'll cover more of that as we close out the day. Let's just focus on this $95,000 or so heads up.
Just to clarify, the Baby Superstar Challenge is a $10,000 buy-in event, a one-day event. And I think you will, if you go to apt.poker, you will see a lot of familiar names. But not Anson Sang nor Edward Yam.
Our 4th and 3rd place finisher.
Tony Lin, 78 big blinds versus Isaac Haxton, 35 big blinds. Haxton is actually below the stack that he started the final table with. He's now holding 11 million chips.
Still momentum on his side. Did have nice little upswing there with that failed bluff attempt by Tony. And now we know his strategy a bit, unsurprisingly. 9-3 of clubs is a flat call, limp on the button. Once again, in case any of you are unfamiliar, the button is the small blind. The big blind posts the big blind ante as well. Pre-flop, the button acts first. Limp pot. Board comes ace, ace, 7. Who wants it more? Let's play some heads up. On the one hand, the person in position has the advantage in taking down the pot. On the other hand, the person with the chip lead has a certain sense of advantage as well. On to the next one. 2-1 is the chip lead still. The dangerous 2-1 that we always talk about, Steven. 1 all in.
Flips around.
Exactly, flips around.
3-1.
Even stacks when you lose an all in.
1.1.
So
Yeah.
when you are 3-1 underdog behind, winning 2 flips wins you the tournament. As easy as that.
It really is sometimes shockingly easy. And by the way, not to take anything away from it, but shout out to Elke. 6.5 to 1 underdog. Like 4 hands, 3 flips later. One of them not exactly a flip. Was a 3-1 dog. And it was just over. Much to the shock of Lester Edok from the Philippines, coming runners-up in the Superstar Challenge.
Very happy to see 232 viewers coming back, tuning in for this amazing heads-up battle between Tony Lin from the USA and Isaac Haxton, also from the USA. Limping from Isaac Haxton, 10-5 off. Tony Lin, ace-jack, decides to raise it up. Or not. Yeah, okay. 1.1 million, and then gets a very swift fold from Isaac Haxton. Very happy to see there's a bit of engagement in the comment section. The viewers are having a fun little conversation amongst each other. Much encouraged. I think poker is definitely a game of banter. You know, different people having different opinions, coming from different backgrounds.
Certainly my favorite part of live poker is to get onto a table with strangers who share a common passion. Makes it easier to interact and connect.
Start the class.
Look at this.
Start the class. Let's start the class.
Wait just a minute.
You need to start the time first.
Start the time from
You need
30
to start
once he
time.
has a count. Set the clock back to 30 and
你时
start
间
it.
要先停，然后再数手码。
Isaac is shoved 6-5 off.
Well, how do you think you feel about this?
I think momentum is very important, and Isaac just is sick and tired of getting run over. Obviously, no theory involved here, just street poker. Tony has a very borderline hand.
No. 5, 6.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
9975.
How much? 9975. As in you gamble too much.
You gamble too much.
It's deuce.
Tony's right. Tony will call. People are saying in chat. If he does, he will put himself in the position to win it all 63% of the times. This is a very difficult call, though.
Typo.
Yeah, he lets it
Tight
go.
fold. Interesting.
I know it seems weird. I've weirdly been in this position, Steven, where
Such a good hand.
it just feels...
Fighting for 287,000 US dollars?
No, I wish.
Sorry to carry on. Sorry about
Relative to my bankroll, though, something similar.
that. Okay.
And heads up for a trophy, maybe $30,000 heads up. A lot of money, certainly for my bankroll. And I just did not want to lose another heads up hand. Look down at 3 deuce off. I just taken off the shades I was wearing in frustration, I believe. Stared my opponent in the eye and just said all in. You
And
know
he-
it's theoretically wrong, but
And he laughed at you and showed you aces?
no, I got it through. It just felt so important to win because, of course, the 2 big blinds is what you also want to scoop up with the big blind ante. Surprised, though, to see Ike make a move that I deemed a bit out of line for myself all those years ago.
I think it remains out of line.
Of course. And thinking back to Roman yesterday, who finished 3rd in the Superstar Challenge, something very similar. Got a bit frustrated, jammed 6-3 suited. Got met with the 10s of Lester Edock.
In my humble opinion, Roman's been the best player I've seen on the stream so far.
Wow, I praise. I praise indeed. Bit of a situation here as well. Pair versus a flush draw.
Decided to take the betting lead. 1 million. Okay, no folding. Do not fold a pair heads up.
Well, it's the best 8. That counts for something, and it's counterfeited now. But it is the best 2 pair with a kicker, kings and queens with an ace. And Tony's left with playing the board. Does he talk himself into trying to bluff at it? You would be repping a queen, essentially. Unfortunately for him, Ike has the ace. Should be an easy call for Ike, even if it's a tad reluctant.
1.85.
No racing though, is there? There's no racing here.
Never. Certainly no point.
King high is a full house. Queen high is a full house. 10 high is not going to play like this, maybe. Jack high not going to play like this.
I don't know, man. I call.
I don't know, man. I call.
Natural 8.
I can beat that.
I see. No more bluff.
Left too much.
You can never bluff too much in heads-up poker.
I love the fact that Isaac Haxton kind of replied in a very straightforward manner versus Tony Lynn's, you know, sarcastic trolling, this and that, a mix of everything. This is such good comedy.
He's like the ultimate straight man in a comedy duo.
It's true, right?
He'll yes and everything, as they do in improv. Just do it completely sincerely. Can you imagine, as someone at the top of the poker world, how many characters in poker Ike has seen, interacted, played with, dealt with, bared with?
Tolerated, yes.
Doubt he's faced by anything, and I'm sure he finds Tony as entertaining as we do. And the stacks are getting fairly even here, Steven. Hey, that rhymed a little bit. 47 picks for Haxton, 62 for Lynn. Technically, we haven't addressed this yet. Both representing the US of A.
That's what I said, yeah.
Oh, I missed that. My
Tony
apologies.
Lynn from America.
So we had the National Cup now here at APT Taipei. Superstar went to Elke. And the Super High Roller looking like an American affair.
A single suit, King 10-3, Mr. Singal. Whew. Even Stevens, single suit, Singal.
I see what you did there. Touche.
Whew. There you go.
What a beautiful card for Tony. The hidden trips. Isaac has top pair. Great kicker. Finds the check somehow. And Tony is racking up a big value bet. And it is big.
Oh, sorry. 275. 2 million.
Isaac is just
that correct?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
100%.
yeah, he confirms with the dealer he's just way up in his range to ever consider folding. Has to see one more street. Even then, if it comes a brick, things could get very, very difficult to navigate. He would need a soul read to find the fold here. For Tony to even have a 3 on the button.
If it pairs up the 10,
Or a heart,
this
of
could be
course.
carnage. Yeah, well, would it kill action?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isaac would be. There's the
Sorry,
10.
that's I haven't seen. No, don't accuse me of anything. I
I
didn't
know.
know that was coming.
Pure soul read of the deck.
Deck read.
Still though, a king queen here. It's pretty high up in your range. After all, Isaac's gonna have a lot of draws that he continues with. So from a game theory perspective,
The king is paying off all sorts, no?
that's true.
So what do you do for an encore after a massive turn bet?
Continue the story that you might be bluffing. Don't fear your opponent having a 10, because that's not how you play poker. Value bet a full house, heads up. Just had a slight glitch in the graphics there, so went back about 5 seconds. So there we go, action on Tony. He would love for his opponent to have a flush at this point.
Just target a king, right?
Yeah, although he's going pretty big.
It's a lot. I don't know what it is, but it's a lot. Like 7 million or something?
Yeah, those bricks, those yellow biscuits, as Stephen calls them, 250k a piece. 4 make a million.
570. Yep, thank
Seems
you.
like he put out.
Okay, 580. 5.8 million.
There it is. Put out 17 of those.
Wow. So Isaac Haxton is not worried about losing on the kicker. So, you know, if the king is good, then he should be good. Right? You know, king, queen. You know, you're not really losing to anything.
Well, when you're high up in your range like this, despite the monotone flop and now the double paired board, really have to focus on card removal. The fact that your opponent effectively bet big on the turn, big on the river. Isaac doesn't have a heart. Certainly give merit to Tony having a high heart and bluffing twice. Obviously the 10 pairing up makes things interesting. With the check on the flop and the bet on the turn, Tony could easily have a 10. The bets have been pretty big and polarized as well. Great time to use your time bank, that's for sure. Really needs to think this one through. It's for more than half his stack, by the way. Needs to find a very difficult fold. In a full ring scenario, maybe. Looks easy. But you do not want to get bullied when you have top pair here.
Good fold.
Yeah.
Great fold.
Yeah.
World class. Truly world class.
I don't know.
Fold to live another day.
And look at
don't
the
feel
difference.
great
He
about it.
wasn't afraid to hero call when he had ace high with the big bet. Found a way to fold the
I
king
will
there.
out of an ASI.
Wow, that's excellent. I am truly impressed.
Tony did look super strong there, betting, of
Yeah, yeah,
course.
yeah.
But just from a math perspective, you often talk about MDF, minimum defense frequency. Try to stay away from the deep technical stuff, but on that river, it's certainly darn close.
There's an excellent video on YouTube talking about MDF. If you go to the GTO Wizard channel, all other sofas are available. But, you know, that's just excellent.
I've seen that one. It is excellent.
It is excellent, right? 45 minutes, that will not blow your mind, but it just really solidify a lot of concepts. Oh, did you do your homework before you came to commentate?
I'm a poker nerd. What are you going to do? I see GTO Wizard has a nice MDF video out. It's like clickbait for me. It's like a Mr. Beast video being out.
May I make a confession? I've never watched the whole Mr. Beast video.
Yeah, you're not missing. It's Steven.
I'm old, right?
We're
Is
old.
that what you
We're
were
old.
saying?
Don't worry about it. First, you got to go home and find out what Be Real is. And you'll be amazed at the popularity of this biggest app for teenagers.
I'm feeling like you're trolling me. It turned out to be something like really weird.
No. The
No,
tension,
I bet it's really weird.
the tension of this moment is too high for me to be trolling you at this moment. For instance, Isaac is all in for about 30 bigs.
Does it make sense?
Well, firstly, unlike the 6-5 shove, an ace is a lot more reasonable. But yeah, just look at this. Look at how much equity it folds out.
Yep.
Tony's Hollywooding a bit. He would never risk the chip lead by calling off Jack 10 off. And as if to punish the Hollywooding, the stream is glitching just a bit when Tony's getting his camera time. Bear with us.
So my experience in MTT heads up, so I don't play heads up like for fun. You know, I only get to heads up when I, you know, MTT my way there.
Well, A, you're missing out, and B, what a humble brag.
And I do play heads up reasonably frequently,
Exactly.
as in 1 in 20.
1 in 20 MTTs.
Isn't
you're
that
down to
good?
Heads up.
Isn't that good?
You show off.
I'm just joking. Of course not. It's impossible.
Yeah, that would make you Ike.
Plus.
Plus.
Anyway, my limited experience in heads-up poker is oftentimes the so-called weaker player, the less experienced player, that will jam, 20 BB plus, so to avoid the difficult post-flop decision trees. So that's why I'm finding it fascinating. It's clear, it's impossible that Isaac Haxton thinks he's the inferior player at the table.
No, not at all. But also,
But he's taking that kind of, in quotes, beginner line.
well, let me clarify
Yep.
to the best guess that I can.
Mm-hmm.
To not jam, if it is theoretically correct, would be to give up EV. And Isaac Haxton does not give up EV. And unlike a lot of other players who have to make decisions, well, let me pause just for a moment, although I do want to get back to that because
Yeah.
Isaac has flopped a straight and Tony has the open ender. It's gone check, check, mercifully for Tony. Now it's a straight versus an open ender still, but the board is paired. Ike wants to get plenty of chips in the middle, somehow set up an overbet jam if he can. The board is wet enough to start repping some fancy play with draws. I suspect a big bet is coming.
$2.2 million.
There it is.
2.2.
2.2 million.
I pat myself on the back for calling an overbet, but frankly the board and the hand Isaac has purely demanded it. Tony is just shocked. I think he's made up his mind already. So what Ike was trying to do is get about 6.2 million into the pot on the turn. Rep a big bluff.
Set up for River Jam.
A 1.25 SPR riverbed jam.
Maybe 8.5.
Did not work out. Coming back to it, Steven. Ike jamming the ace-3.
Wasting all my
The
good
truth is
hands.
there's dead money in the middle, or so Ike sees it. Yes, there's a small chance your opponent was trapping you. But of course the ace, aka blocking the other aces, is a good card to have to ensure you have at least 20 to 30% equity against any hand that calls. Taking all that into account, he saw a little bit of EV there to be taken, and he took it. And unlike a lot of other players, perhaps not someone like Tony Lin, I mean, extremely accomplished, absolutely beast of a player approaching 10 million in lifetime earnings. But a lot of other players sometimes forget to play as though they will be in that spot an infinite amount of times. That's of course what you're supposed to do to play game theoretically optimal. Ike actually is in that spot an infinite amount of times. He can actually take those small EV percentages. Just my thinking. I might be off, but certainly seems to make sense when
So
you're
I'm
talking
going to
about
make, well, not making it up, but I'm going to introduce this concept of GTO constrained exploit. So Ike is not doing anything that is bad for EV. There might be a better line, but because it's exploiting within a certain GTO framework, it makes sense. Turns an ace.
Ike deciding not to bet his open ender. Bit of randomizing going on here. This time round, the ace stops the delayed c-bet. Tony checks his single pair. Would love to get to showdown now. Ike is left with 9 high. Does he feel the need to bluff at it? Or was his check on the turn indicative of him not being that interested in the spot?
1.2 million.
Decides to rep the king, perhaps jack 10 off.
1.2, right?
In an unbet pot, Tony can safely toss in the chip. He has a pair, and it's as simple as that.
So I'm thinking on the line of Haxton having 9-7, so he's
It's a liver, huh?
blocking 9-8, 6-7, right? So it's less likely that Tony Lin has a pair. Is that the right line to think?
Yeah, I suppose I expect that he would have heard from Tony on the turn, or maybe the river if he had a bigger pair. Just gets it through. Very interesting hand. If you love heads up like we do. Perhaps others think it a bit boring and are disappointed that Tony folded.
We apologize slightly for the slightly laggy screen. I think we are trying to fix it as we speak.
By the way, Stephen, I just mentioned how Ike not c-betting an open-ender there could have had an element of randomization, because certainly you would be c-betting very frequently if you flop an open-ender. Care to explain to the audience what I might mean by that from a GTO perspective?
You gotta, sorry, I was away with the fairies there. Could you ask that question again?
Oh, no problem. Queen 8-6 was a flop. Ike had 9-7 in position, and yet did not continuation bet. Certainly most players would expect a continuation bet with a hand that has that much equity in position. And I'm fairly certain there was some element of randomization there. So I was wondering if you could explain to the audience how GTO approaches randomization.
Well, how you execute the randomization, okay? So the idea is certain decisions are mixed in under this in the solver. So for example, it could be 60% bet, 40% check. Then when you execute that mix, you find an anchor in the room when you play live. So for example, it could be a clock. It could be the next person walking into the room. You find something to randomize. So for example, if it's a 50-50, that's very easy. Next person you see, if it's a, well actually no, that's a terrible example, because usually there are more men playing poker, I'm
If
afraid.
they have long hair or short hair.
That's terrible as well. So let's just go back to the clock. So if you look at the number of the seconds, if it's odd, then you go one way, or if even, you go the other way. So the execution is actually very it's actually, you need to find an anchor, basically. You need to find something that you can, that is 50-50, let's say. If it's 6-4, you know, you have 60% chance of doing something, then you find another way of randomizing, so that you're randomized and you're doing getting the right split for your decision. And that's quite, you know, definitely level 2, level 3 kind of a GTO theory there.
And of course the merit to having a mixed strategy to begin with is so that you are simply not predictable.
10. You hit the 10. Hit the
Isaac
10.
takes it down.
Ay, man.
Just thinking
Ay,
back
ay,
to that
ay,
open-ender once again, it simply means that, you know, if the straight did come in, you could never say, well, Ike is always betting an open-ender on the flop, so I know he has a straight or he doesn't, or it's a part of his range. Randomization is the key to be completely unexploitable. Poker is just
Almost even.
so hard sometimes, Steve.
Very close, I think, yeah.
Tell that to Elkie yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't see no randomization. I just saw ABC, solid.
I saw 100%, 100%. There's nothing random.
It's just beast mode.
40.5.
I think so.
Pocket tens for Ike.
Right, picking up hands.
I think after the level, we don't use that, right?
I don't think you can randomize this here.
After the level, we color.
100% raise here.
600.
Ooh, that is a spicy board. Bottom pair and a straight draw, open-ended for Tony Lin. Over pair for Isaac Haxton.
You sounded like you had a bowl of noodles. Ooh, that's a spicy sauce.
I feel the same level of excitement as I would with a beautiful bowl of noodles looking at what's happening in front of me. Once again, these guys have relatively even stacks now. Approximately 50 bigs for Isaac. 60 odd for Tony. And he donks. Bets out of flow. Does not want to give Isaac a free card. And a great bet, by the way, Stephen, because we've been noticing Ike checking back a lot of flops. Tony, taking that into account, did not want to give a free card, but those checks have worked out, allowing Isaac to raise in position. And now the pot is getting bloated. Tony is out of position, and he has a hand that is way too strong to fold. I could easily be doing this with exactly the kind of hand he has, but also flush draws, pair and a straight draw himself, which would, by the way, have Tony dominated, and he goes all in.
Oh my god. Got snapped.
Here we go. 42% equity for Tony to just end it all. This could all be over. We might have a champion, and it could be Tony Lin if he can hit one of the 13 outs up top.
I think a 6 is fair.
Wow. Ike, careful what you wish for.
Yeah, 6
A 6 is fair, says Ike. Trust me, he doesn't mean it.
Wow.
And he called the 6. Tony.
I think a 6 is fair.
4, right?
Well, this would be way too karmic for Ike to lose it this way. Tony on the verge of becoming the super high roller champion. Making an incredible comeback after being 4th place. Needs to dodge the 16 outs up top. And he does not. The 10 gives Isaac a set. A moan
Oh
heard
my god.
across the poker floor.
I thought to make it fair, a 9 would have come on the river.
At least that would have been an interesting way to go, because Isaac would have had the bigger straight, but I suppose the same outcome here. This is crushing for Tony. He did get it in behind on the flop, of course. 3-bet jammed with the pair and a straight draw. Fairly standard stuff heads up, although Tony did go for the high variance route. Just the run out was extra cruel, especially after Isaac asking for the 6. And now look how the tables have turned. 100 bigs to 13 bigs.
375?
This is a whole different kind of uphill battle. One that Tony has seen and accomplished before, especially getting from 4th place all the way to heads up.
14 million? 75?
Taking it about as well as he can. Does shake it off a little bit. Has to be hurting. So many dreams came alongside that 10 on the river. Crushing a lot of them, unfortunately.
I think I will color the green. We don't need a green. We need it.
Wonder what chat felt about that. Let's take a look.
I know. Brian is up now. Are you guys going to just bet the even Well, okay.
Wow. Tony Lin.
OMGs
I don't care.
in the
You
chat.
can-
What a setup.
If they're bothering you, you can sell them all to me and we'll put them on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, suddenly Ike's pretty funny when he has a 8-1 chip lead.
Actually, he was being practical.
Tony, understandably, we can only imagine devastated, but needs to keep his head in the game. It is far from over. Most recently, Elke surmounted a 6.5-1 chip lead at the Superstar Challenge yesterday.
But this is 9-1.
Little less, to the extent it matters. Under 8-1 means you just need 3 triple ups. Not too shabby. So Tony is a little better than 8-1.
Just not showing his cards.
How much I got? Oh, you're correct. You need to send a call.
Okay, after posting a big blind and in big blind ante, he's playing pocket queens.
Wow. Nice time for it.
What a way to get back into the game.
Oh, he goes all in. Does not even trap. And Ike has kings.
Classic, really.
Are you kidding me? Sometimes it's not meant to be. It's not over till it's over, but that is a cooler setup. And
Mr. Haxton.
they're shaking on it already. There we go. 81% of the time, this is going to be the final hand in the favor of the great Isaac Haxton.
Lady Gaga, there it is.
Lady Gaga.
Is it spicy?
Ladies.
10, 7, ace. Okay, 2 hearts, some hope. Another heart would make it interesting. I notice Ike is not calling for cards anymore.
Can't be drawing dead.
Might have learned his lesson. A 6 means just
Blank as you like.
the 2 outs. $288,000 rely on this one card.
And there it is. Super High Roller champion. Isaac Haxton from the United States of America.
First APT title.
Let's
First
see what
APT
Greg has to
series,
say.
First APT title. What does this mean to you?
This is awesome. Great start. I am definitely enjoying my entry into APTs.
Well, it's great having you. What an intense heads-up battle. Any thoughts about that?
Oh, it was a wild heads-up match. Big pots every hand, back and forth. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, at one point you were a 4-1 underdog. Was that so? And then you clawed your way back?
Yeah, I was, I think, under 8 million at one point. So yeah, more than 3-1 anyway. So yeah.
Incredible. Well, take a look at this. Let's admire this trophy for a second. It's yours. It's yours. Take a look. It's quite heavy. Real 24 karat gold. If you knew, it won the GPI Trophy Award, Best Trophy for 2023. And that's all yours. You want to give it a lift? You'll be surprised how heavy it is.
Let's see.
Check this out. Yeah, she's hefty.
That is no joke of a trophy. I hope you're going to help me ship this. It's not fitting in my luggage.
Well, you'll be able to afford the shipping cost now, won't you?
I think so, yeah.
Anything you want to say to your friends and family back home and your fans?
Oh, thanks for everyone who's watching and supporting me. This has been a lot of fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it.
Amazing. Well, thank you for visiting APT. All the best in Triton. And folks, give it up one more time for Isaac Haxton, your APT Super High Roller Champion!
Thank you very much.
So great meeting you.
Likewise.
You have good vibes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff.
This whole stop has had good vibes. I'd love to be in here.
Amazing. I'm glad Michael says
Well, Isaac, we certainly did enjoy watching you win that incredible trophy and watching you lift it. GG, by the way, to the runner-up finisher. What a performance. Tony entertained us with his speech and poker. But ultimately, the great Isaac Haxton, the end boss, as we were calling him, certainly validated with that nickname, takes home the trophy. An incredible start to Ike's hopefully long upcoming storied career at Asian Poker Tour festivals, joining us here at APT Taipei 2024 for the first time. Started off firing a couple of bullets into the Superstar Challenge for $25,000 apiece. $10,000 Super High Roller. Knocks out a $287,000 win. How do you like them apples? What a great day of poker, Stephen. What are your thoughts?
Amazing stuff. I mean, was very happy to see Edward and Anson making it to the last 4. You know, a little bit biased. But Isaac Haxton, what else could you say about this man? Excellent strategy. Adjusted to the game. Once again, we are seeing the payout here. Isaac Haxton taking home $287,000. Tony Lin coming second, $195,000. A 6-figure finish. Excellent news. Can't wait for more poker action tomorrow.
Well, we had 139 runners for this Super High Roller. Yet another APT record broken. I'm sounding like a broken record now, if I could use that pun, because of course APT Taipei, with all the support you guys have shown both in the stream and of course everybody out there on the poker floor, seems to be a smashing success, which bodes well for the main event which kicked off today. Flight 1A, of course, was today. $2 million guaranteed for that main event. We're going to have a few flights until we start day 2 on Wednesday, when we will start covering it on the stream. Until then, don't forget we have the Natural 8 events, the Influencer event, the India event, the Hong Kong event. It's going to be a blast. Me and Steven will be here for all of it, so you don't want to miss that. Make sure you hit subscribe for us before you leave us. There are some highlights you can watch in the future of this video, but we are trying to get to that 10,000 subscriber mark, and we would really appreciate your support. For now, from the booth, my name is Villar Singhal, and for Stephen Lai, I wish you all a very good night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to Asia's largest online poker room. Our next generation poker software is now initiating. Elevate your online experience with a wide variety of poker variations to choose from. Get fully immersed with fun and social features. Level up your game with PokerCraft and Smart HUD. Unlock a wealth of rewards including cashback, bonuses, and jackpots. Join world-class poker tournaments featuring some of the world's most renowned brands and the largest guaranteed prize pools in the world. Experience the best in customer service and hassle-free transactions for a seamless online gaming experience. With online poker available on all your devices, you'll be able to play your favorite games anytime, anywhere. Sign up now and elevate your online poker experience today.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.